Hello everyone, it's Mystery here today, and this is just a casual chat about whether or not I think that Darktide is worth $40 in late 2024. I'm specifically intending this video for potential PS5 players, but I also acknowledge the possibility that there are some strange individuals who have wandered and stumbled upon my channel and have been watching whatever this game is, and they have never actually played it themselves. And this might be their opportunity to go buy it. If you are not a PlayStation player and you're interested in buying the game, I don't exactly know if there's any sales right now, but I know there was a Humble Bundle recently that had the game for like $10 or something. I think it's an amazing, especially if you get it on sale at all, the game is an amazing value proposition. But I want to kind of break down for a completely new player that has not touched this game before, has maybe seen some footage of it, I want to kind of break down what the value might be. And I understand that I am not every player, that the value that I got out of this game is far away and above the normal experience, considering I have 1,500 hours in the game and I produce content based on the game. Obviously, I am obsessed with Darktide, right? So I want to try to put it in, frame it in more normal terms for you to better, hopefully you fit into one of these categories that I'm talking about, and you can assess whether or not it's going to be a good investment for you. So I turned my gain up a little, so I might sound a little bit louder between takes there, but that's okay. First, I want to address what are the player types I'm talking to, and I've divided my player types into roughly 4 categories that I think might be having eyes on Darktide in general. Darktide is a very flashy game. It does get a little bit of press, and when you see it played or when you see cutscenes and advertisements for it, it does tend to stand out. So it does probably have a lot of eyes on it at one time or another, but I think people are unsure of what exactly it proposes as a game. So for these groups, I want to kind of spell out what I think the value to these certain groups would be. And my groups of players are casuals, who I define as players who probably don't have a whole lot of mechanical skill. Maybe they played Skyrim 5 years ago, is probably the most FPS first person sword swinging gameplay they've ever had in recent years. And then maybe from time to time they have some friends who are like, yo bro, hop on Val, and they just absolutely get their shit kicked in. Those are casual players, and obviously the game's going to be a little bit hard for them at times, but I think there's things to appreciate, and it's up to you to determine whether or not it outweighs the fact that this game is difficult. Then we've got normies. Normies are people I would define as, they probably have a job that takes at least 8 hours a day. They might be going to school. They might have a family that requires attention. They probably only have 2-3 hours tops per night when they can, when it's not a school or a work night and they don't have other obligations. But the advantage that normies have, and some casuals have as well, is they tend to have friends. And friends, if you have a good group of friends coming into this game and they all want to play Darktide with you, that can extend your enjoyment of the game a lot. So I took that into account when I'm talking about these normies, is they might be able to convince some of their friends to play as well. Then we've got the category I fall into, and the category that I think is going to be most in love with Darktide, which is tryhards or sweats or no-lifers. This is an amazing game to waste your life on, just getting absurdly mechanically good at this game for little to no reason other than to prove that you fucking can. These are gamers who are, when a game comes out, they're spending 4 to 6 hours at least every day. If you do less than that, you're not even basically playing the game, in order to improve their skills and to to stay at that bleeding edge of what is considered good in a game. If you are a player who has ever pushed a hard grind for Diamond or Masters in League of Legends or Valorant or Legendary Eagle or whatever it is in CS:GO, you are a sweat. You are a tryhard, and I think this game might be good for you. And then finally, we have Warhammer nerds. There are just a group of people that they go onto Google or Steam or whatever, and they search Warhammer game, and then whatever comes up, they're like, all right, let's check this out because they fucking love Warhammer. And I can understand it. Warhammer is an amazing, very interesting universe. It is so deep in its lore. This game is probably really cool for Warhammer nerds, just from an aesthetic standpoint, and we'll get into a little more about that in a second. So, I'll kind of reference these groups as we go through it. Let's first talk about the atmosphere and the game feel. I think that the atmosphere and the game feel is going to be really important for casuals, normies, and Warhammer nerds. Because that is probably the first and foremost thing they're going to come up against is these environments are beautiful. The weapons are well designed and sound amazing, and they have such amazing impacts when they hit enemies, and the horde dynamics when hordes swarm around you, and the way that enemies ragdoll or get their limbs blown off, and bosses could come careening into environments. The way it all kind of acts as one big choreographed dance is really amazing and impressive. That stuff that tends to be lost on me as a sweaty tryhard player. I'm here to get good, not appreciate the fine artistry that went into the ceiling that's like 50 miles above me. But if you're a casual and you're playing this game with a group of friends, or you're a Warhammer nerd and you're role playing as Acadian who's like been hot dropped into this war zone and is like, what the fuck? First Cadia, now this. This could be a really, really cool game from that aspect for you. Let's talk about the game systems in general as well. This is everything outside of actually playing missions. So right now on your screen, you can see me playing a mission. But when you're finished with a mission, you go back to the Morningstar, which is like your hub area, and you need something that inspires you to get back in and play another mission. There are some games that are really, really good at this and do it seamlessly. I think a great example is like Civilization, right? You never want to stop taking turns and moving forward. You're like, oh, just one more turn. You're always working towards something. Same thing with RimWorld. Like, you're always working towards a project, and you never really know when to pause and stop. Darktide does have that hitch problem where once you finish with a mission, that seems like a very nice place to just kind of stop for the night. And every time you stop for the night, there's a chance you might not pick it up again tomorrow. But the game does have a lot of systems in it now that can encourage you to continue coming back day after day, week after week, and then potentially year after year. First and foremost among those is the penance system. This has been greatly expanded upon, and I found a lot of enjoyment in it recently. Basically a big-ass achievement list that has a progression track that's like a, what do they call it, like a battle pass. You don't pay any money or anything for it. It's just unlocked by having a certain number of achievement points. And these achievement points run the gamut from everything from using different talents on different classes to finding secret hidden interactables on every single map, or playing the different maps with different like weather conditions and stuff X number of times. It really does encourage you to play every map, to play every character, to really diversify your experience. So if you are like a completionist, this is a great way to generate value for yourself out of the game, and it's a way that I've been encouraging myself to play the game. Game will play for 1,500 hours. You gotta have a little bit of a carrot on that stick from time to time, and being like, you know what, I want to complete all the damn penances has been it for me lately. Then for players who are newer to the game, you do have that whole gear progression, character progression thing, right? You have to level your character to 30, and then you have to get your gear, your mastery rank up, and then you have to get enough resources to craft your weapons and make them the perfect version of what you want. And then once you got that perfected, you might see someone else using a different weapon and they look like they're absolutely destroying, so you'll get that weapon and you'll rank it up, and that cycle can keep you working for a really, really long time. There's also weekly quests. I think this is probably the weakest example of something that can keep you playing the game, but it's something that encourages me to hop in every week. Just a little bit of extra currency that allows me to buy some extra curios and weapons from time to time. But I think that generally, let's talk about replayability. For casuals and normies and Warhammer nerds to a lesser extent, you guys are going to get your value out of this game very, very easily. For casuals, you're probably not looking for anything more than like 50 to 100 hour tops experience, and there are more than 20 maps in this game. To play each of them once, plus all of the potential failures that you might have at those maps, and to try all the different characters, that is easily a 50-hour endeavor. So you'll reach that $1 threshold really easily if you're doing that. And then for normies, if a normie goal, I think like a competitive normie goal would be something like I want to complete every map in the game on the hardest difficulty. That will probably take you around 200 hours, I would have to assume, from like a fresh start if you have no previous experience in the game. So that's quite a bit of replayability for normies. And Warhammer nerds probably fall into the same category. You want to see every map, you want to beat it on the highest difficulty, just to really experience what that Warhammer 40k vibe of being overwhelmed by Nurgle masses is like. And then for sweaty players, for no-lifers, God, this game has such impossibly huge depth to it. You can easily invest 3,000, 4,000 hours in it, I have to imagine. I have 1,500 hours. My highest level character is 500 and something. You don't actually get anything by leveling past 30, but that lets me know that I've probably completed like 600 missions on that character, and I still don't feel like I've fully mastered it. And there's 3 other characters, and there's so many builds, and the builds are always changing because new weapons are being released, and people are figuring out new metas. So if that sounds at all interesting to you, if you're looking for a game to know life, this can be a really good candidate for that. All right, and then let's talk about a problem that might exist for some groups, which is this game is pretty hard. In all honesty, it can be very punishing. I think my problem with it is if you are a very casual player and you're not adept at horde combat or whatever, the game is fine on the really low difficulties. You can just kind of walk through the map and everything will get blown away because there's like barely any enemies and they have no health. But then if you try to raise the difficulty at all, there will come a point where you will just absolutely get destroyed, right? The difficulty jumps up way faster than you would expect, and the enemies will overwhelm you and destroy you. And for some set of players, like I'm in this subset of players, when I get destroyed in a game, I'm like, damn, what the hell has happened to me? What the fuck? All right, let's load that up again and try it again. We're gonna beat it this time. If that is not you, and instead when you get destroyed like that, you're like, well, that was frustrating. Let's play something else. This might not be the game for you, right? You are going to take really frustrating deaths and be absolutely handily defeated by the forces of Nurgle, and you just have to kind of accept that is part of the game. If you like to always win, maybe give this one a pass. And then the final question I want to pose before we talk about the value, like the monetary value of this game, is do you need friends to play this game? For casuals and normies, and somehow Warhammer nerds have friends a lot of times, having friends that want to play this game with you isn't that hard. It's a pretty cheap game, honestly, and you could probably get your money's worth out of playing it with people. So especially if you're like, I don't know, does PlayStation have a Game Pass where you can get it for free, or is that just Xbox? But yeah, I think that like it's really nice to have friends, but from the sweat perspective, from my perspective, I am living proof that you do not need to have friends to play this game. That actually sounds really bad that I gotta kind of reflect on it, but like, I played this game for 50 hours with friends, and then they were like, all right, cool, dude, we're done, we're gonna go play something else. And I was like, I must have the green frame for completing the hazard missions. I will play, and then I played another 400 hours, right? So I got a lot of value out of it, and then I stopped because I got kind of bored. And then I came back when they released talent trees, and I played another 500 hours. And then I left, and then I came back again, and I played another 600 hours. And then here we are today. So you don't need friends to play this game. I've only recently had friends that actually wanted to play with me, and that's only because I'm a YouTuber, and if they aren't even friends, they're parasocial relationships, Elry. But I'm just kidding. It's nice to have people to play with, but it's not necessary. There's plenty of people in quick play, and they can hold their own, and you might be able to make friends. Why don't you just be that person who like talks in the game and says like, yo guys, you want to team up after this? And it might happen. All right, let's talk about the value proposition of this game. First of all, it's a $40 game, right? On PlayStation, at a baseline, You could do way worse for games, especially at $40, because a lot of PlayStation games are $60. Hands down, that's like the industry standard on PlayStation is $60. So you're getting a game for $40, and it's as good as this one is. I think you just snatch it up instantly at that price. It's very, very easy to get your dollar per hour value out of Darktide. I would be surprised if you didn't get, 2 hours out of every dollar, to be honest with you, before you get bored with it at all. You also have this option of buying the Imperial Edition. The Imperial Edition is $60. This is all USD, by the way. The Imperial Edition comes with 3 extra things. First of all, it comes with some black Mortis operative gear and like an extra frame and a backpack. That stuff looks all right. You probably won't end up using the frame. You might use 1 or 2 pieces of the gear just because they're black, and black kind of goes with everything. I think I use like the face mask on one of my characters still. But the other 2 things are probably the bigger draw. One of them is you get 24 or 2,500 Aquilas. Aquilas are like the premium currency in this game. And just to break it down for you, in the shop, if you want to get 2,400 Aquilas, it's $11.49. So you're looking at roughly $12 worth of premium currency for buying the Imperial Edition. And that means you have to get about $8 of value out of the rest of the benefits in the pack. Otherwise, it might be better just to buy the regular edition and then take your $12 and go buy that in the store, and you'll save $8, right? Or you could spend $20 and get even more premium currency. Honestly, a lot of the stuff in the store does look pretty cool, and if you're a player that cares about how your character looks in any way, shape, or form, and you want to look swag while you're killing zombies and stuff, it's something to highly consider. The last thing that you get, and this is sort of what will probably... it costs about $8, right? That makes up the difference. Is you do get 6 days of early access for the PS5 version. So you'll get early access on the 27th versus the normal edition, which you can only play on December 3rd. So that could be really, really cool if you're a person who wants to play early. If you're a Zen master and you can wait an extra week for the game to come out, that's cool too. But yeah, if you have that extra $8, I imagine a lot of people are going to be going for Imperial Edition just for that benefit alone. So that is everything that there is about this, guys. Hopefully I broke it down for you. Try to give some perspective. I think this game is really, really good. I obviously bought the Imperial Edition way back in the day, before we even knew if this game was going to be any good. And if I had the option of getting the game, it was today, hands down, I would have paid $80 for the game it is today, knowing what I know, that I would get 1,500 hours of playing it. But yeah, this game is really, really amazing. It has, I really feel like it's finally hit its stride. They fixed the issues, and I really hope that everybody that gets it enjoys it greatly. Anyway, that's it for me. Mystery out.